What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rebbe Nachman and Resilience, where I take my two favorite topics of Rebbe Nachman and mental health and I put them together and we just talk about it. In today's lesson, I wanted to speak with everybody about not running away from perceived negative emotions. This is a big one. Rebbe Nachman says in lesson 6 in the Likut Ma'aran that a person needs to be a baki b'ratzeh, a baki b'shav, an expert in running and returning, an expert in embracing their emotional state no matter what the weather is. Good or bad, right or wrong, should or shouldn't, are all values and judgments that we place on emotional states. All emotions are meant to be had. Good or bad, right or wrong, should or shouldn't, they're not feelings in themselves. Those are the judgments and the beliefs that we have around certain feelings that we're experiencing. And what I always like to say is all feelings are welcome, that we're allowed to have feelings. We're allowed to feel angry. We're allowed to feel resentment. We're allowed to feel anxious. We're allowed to feel depressed. We're allowed to feel content, and we're allowed to feel happy. Not only are we allowed to feel that, but we're supposed to. As humans, we're meant to experience the gamut of human emotions and then be able to move on from them. But when we start judging ourselves and not embracing our emotional weather, we start splitting our emotions to black and white, good and bad. What happens is we tend to stay in those feelings for longer, and it has a way of adding insult to injury. There was a man named Sidney Banks who used to say, if people would learn not to be scared of their own experience, that alone would change the world. Meaning to say, if we learned how to embrace our emotional weather, if we learned not to judge ourselves for whatever it is that we're feeling, if we learned to be an expert in running and returning, a baki b'ratzeh, baki b'shav, then we'd be able to experience the gamut of human emotions and then move on. Something I always ask my clients and I wonder about for myself is, if we wouldn't judge ourselves for the feelings that we're having, how would we feel? Typically the answer is you feel free to feel the highest emotion and the lowest emotion and then be able to move on from it. It would take away the sting and the bite of all those deep, dark emotions that people tend to feel. When we begin to appreciate the fact that all feelings are welcome and that we no longer need to run from perceived negative emotions, we begin to embrace our emotions, we begin to have a deeper level of emotional contentment, and we begin to being okay with not being okay. But that really all comes from understanding that we're allowed to feel however we want to feel, and emotions aren't right or wrong. And this is what Rebbe Nachman meant by being a baki b'ratzeh, baki b'shav, being an expert. It's not just something that's incidental to life. You can't run away from feelings because we're meant to have them. Hashem created us by design to have all emotions, and therefore we need to learn how to embrace our emotional weather and how to be okay with not being okay, which leads to a deeper sense of inner contentment. Anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. If you like this video, as always, hit that subscribe button, push that like forward to a friend, and I will definitely see you in the next one. Have a good one, everyone.